Hello everyone, this is Shomali Mukherjee and today we are joined by Shreyas, who's currently pursuing his bachelor's in psychology. He's part of the LGBTQ plus community, and when he's not completely drowning in his studies, Shreyas is a voracious reader as well as a writer. Today he'll be answering a few of our questions on queer literature and queer representation in media. Good afternoon, Shreyas. First of all, thank you for joining us here. We're really honored to have you. And so, could you tell us a little more about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Shreyas, and as you said, I'm pursuing psychology, and that's because I like it and all of that. But I personally prefer to write more than I like studying whatever it is. And as for the community part, I'm asexual and biromantic, and I'm transgender also. But I guess if you were to be more specific, I'm gender fluid. And that's about it. I like to read, I like to write, that's about it.
So you're a reader, you say. I'm a reader too. So since you're a voracious reader, could you give us some insight on how much time and effort it takes to find something related to queer literature?
In short, it takes a lot of time. Like when I say a lot, I mean I had to ask 3 of my friends just to understand if this particular book was queer or not, and then go ahead and try and see if I like the writer, if I like the writer's style, or if I like the genre which is written in. When you're looking for especially something queer, you have to go on a hunt as to who has written. Either you have to go and check out who has written it, or you'll have to go and check out who is queer and also a writer and also has written something, right? So if you go with the first approach, that is you look at what has been if somebody has written it or not, you have to look at if the representation is good enough for you, or if the writing style is good enough for you, or if the genre which it is written in is good enough for you, or you have to go follow the queer writers who are actually there. And there again, it's a hit or miss. You might not like what they write, so it's still gonna take a lot of digging. Whereas in straight literature, I'm comparing it for the sake of comparison and for the sake of understanding how much it takes. When you don't care if the MC is queer or not, it's a lot easier for you to find something. It's like if you were to draw 2 Venn diagrams with straight literature, it's gonna be like the number of books and and your specific tastes in those books are going to be very. It's gonna merge a lot. You're gonna have a lot of space which is in common, but whereas in queer literature, it's gonna be like the actual amount of books and the intersection is very small. You could, if you were to be actually picky as you would be picky with the other the straight stories, you're gonna end up with max to max 1 or 2 books, and that is all you're gonna end up with. And along with that, it's not, even if you do end up with 1 or 2 books, something's gonna be wrong about that book. Like obviously not every book is going to be good for that particular time or place or your mental capacity and all of that, but it's still going to be hard. And so if you spend 3 hours on the internet searching for queer books, you're gonna end up with one single one at the end of 3 hours, whereas if you're gonna do that with straight books, you're gonna have at least easily 5-6.
So once you do find the books related to queer literature, what are the problems one might face while reading the books?
Okay, the very easiest, even before you get to the actual reading part of it, first of all queer books are going to be really, really expensive. Like if you want to support the author, which you obviously do because they may or may not be queer, but you want more queer content, and the best way to do that is buying the books, and each book will be easily 2,000, right? And it probably doesn't seem much if you're earning, but as a young queer person, it obviously is a lot. Because of that, right off the bat, you're already struggling to actually get that kind of book. Consider you borrow it from somebody, you borrow it from your friend, or you borrow it from a library and you do read it. Every book will have some kind of triggering content. It might not be every single book, but more often than not, you're gonna have internalized homophobia, you're gonna have every form of queerphobia, and sometimes it might include violence too. Sometimes it might include genres, like the genre itself might ask for more violence, and it being inflicted on queer people in the books itself, even though it's just a fictional character, it's close to your heart, and it feels terrible for you to read that person going through the whole thing. Upon that, there are quite a few heavy topics which queer people do go through, like trigger warning for rape. People, like queer people are raped. They are not, they're not these exceptions that it doesn't ever happen to them. So they're gonna, the books might discuss rape, the books might discuss sexual assault, the books might discuss a lot of things which people, like self-harm, mental health, a lot of those things are very difficult for a person to read, and obviously it's gonna be part of the book. You can't go up to author and say I need a completely fluffy story where there is nothing wrong happening. That you can't make a story like that, right? So you'll have to learn to digest through that for you to even get the content. In a straight romance story, you can very easily get something which is more of a erotica, and you're gonna get like 2 or 3 problems maybe for this for the characters. But in a queer story, it's called unrealistic, and people who aren't even queer or people who are queer and don't like that kind of stuff are gonna demand for the other side, whereas one part of the community is gonna demand for more such of stories because real life has enough of it, right? So that's gonna happen, and you're gonna have clashes in the own community. It's quite common. I mean, it's not like straight people don't have disagreements, right? So there are gonna be clashes, and people are, even though it's happening inside a community, the other like an outsider will come and comment about how, why is the community being divided, this isn't the best thing, and all of that. So you'll have to deal with that as well. And obviously, most of all, if you don't like the book, you feel guilty and you feel like you need to finish that story because it's queer and you picked it up.
What you talked about right now was related to the literature aspect. What if we are to widen our focus to other forms of content? What do you think about queer representation in those aspects?
I first of all don't really watch a lot of movies and TV shows. I do search for them and I do watch it if somebody recommend, like one of my friends recommend it to me. But it's a really tricky question, right? So first of all, as a queer person, I'm expected to talk with the whole community on my shoulders. Like I'm supposed to cover every single thing, and I'm not seen as a person who is giving my opinion on a single subject. Now I've told you that I'm queer, so my opinion will be considered as the whole community's opinion. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore, but it's still very common for people to expect that, and they're gonna be like, oh, but that one person said that they liked it, so maybe you are not a good queer. That can also happen, right? It's a tricky thing. So first of all, we'll have to consider the fact that for it to be a good representation, what do you consider a good representation? Like, are we supposed to show what is happening what is happening to almost all of the queer people? That would mean making it 18 plus content, showing people all the violence queer people face. But then that's gonna mean people will only see violence and people will only see the bad parts, and they're gonna see something very negative, and that's not a good thing for the young queers to look at. They're gonna look at something which shows a queer person committing suicide or something. They won't think that, okay, this was a queer representation. They're gonna think I'm gonna end up that way. So we have to balance it it needs to be balanced in a way that it's hopeful but also shows everything. But that's just my opinion. And so far, the only good representation which I have seen is One Day at a Time, and the book called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of Universe, Red, White and Royal Blue. Those are the only 3 things which I think were good enough, and I'm a very sensitive reader. I'm unable to consume or digest anything which is very violent. So everything else, like there were so many other queer stories which came out on Netflix and which came out on other places, but I wasn't able to watch it because it was so violent.
So all this time you talked about being a media consumer. So what about being a writer? What are the challenges you face while creating queer content?
Right off the bat, not everybody's gonna read what I've written. That's like a given for all the writers, right? Second of all, there are specific things which people won't read, and I won't hold it against them, but it's also a little discouraging in the sense. Okay, if a story with cis characters, if it has gotten say around 2000 views, a story which has trans character is gonna get barely nearly 100 views. Like the margin is really big. I don't know why it happens, but it happens anyway, and that's very discouraging because as a trans person myself, that's the only way I can currently express myself properly. That's the only way I can give myself the freedom to explore even my own gender. And it also is very discouraging as a writer because you see that your readers don't like it, but you like writing it, and some part of your brain tells you that this is not being liked by other people, this is not giving you the certain amount of the regular amount of happiness which you used to get after posting it, after publishing it, and that's going to discourage you, and that discouragement again will make you feel bad because you're a trans person and you want to write trans characters, but nobody is reading it, and it ends up in a spiral. So it's going to go down and down and down, and you're going to end up at rock bottom, and then you're going to be like, oh man, what the fuck is this, right? So there is that, and there is also the aspect ki you want to make a good, like, you want to write something good, you want to make the character a good representation, but somebody in the world is not gonna like it, and they're gonna point it out, and they're gonna be like, I did not like this, and it feels like they have physically like come in front of you and stabbed you in the gut for it, right? It's just a comment, but because the story is so close to your heart, it's gonna feel like a stab in the gut, and you're gonna feel like a complete failure all over again, and you have to build yourself up, you have to talk to your friends and be like, so this happened and I'm feeling shitty about it, and they're gonna be like, it's fine, you got this, and they have to give you encouragement, and you have to build it all up yourself and then start writing again, and then somebody else is gonna come and stab you in the gut, and you're gonna fall in back again, and it's a process until you learn how to not feel like they stabbed you in the gut and be like, fine, if you don't care, I don't give a shit about you, and you have to continue. That's the most annoying thing about being a writer who makes queer content.
So queer people already have a lot on their plate. So what are different ways in which allies can help?
Very easily support the, like, if you are able to afford buying books or buying these kinds of medias, one, buy it for yourself if you want to, and also offer it to buy it for your friend, or offer to hide their books, especially if they are young and they don't have a supportive household. Like, I had to hide the books which I was reading from my parents because it had a very queer cover page. So my friends offered to keep it in their place, so you can do that. That's like the very basic which you can do. And two, obviously, if you're friends with a trans person, use their preferred name, use their pronouns properly, and you will slip up. I mean, even the person themselves probably slips up sometimes. Their closest best friends probably slips up. It's okay to slip up. Correct yourself, move on, show them that you respect them, show them that you care about them as a friend, and not ditch them just because they're trans. Second, try not to intrude their personal space. If they tell you that this made them uncomfortable, instead of digging for answers, you could ask them what's up, or just apologize, talk to them as a friend. And obviously there is a little gap if you're cishet and your friend is a queer person. There's gonna be that lack of understanding as to why what they're going through is a lot more intense than what you think it might be. Try to understand, or ask them if they have any resources which could help them help the queer person in the first place, or you could do the research yourself. You could finish the research and go up to them and be like, hey, I did this research, let me know if it works for you, or do you want me to do something else, and take the first step.
So thank you for your time, and that was a very informative. I hope our viewers take these points into consideration and in the future are more sensitive and aware towards queer content. And once again, thank you very much.